Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling through those like amazing interior design photos
Hmm.
and everything just looks so custom, so high
That's
end,
what
and you just
happened.
think, how can I possibly get that look without, winning the lottery or
Hmm.
maybe hiring a full-time designer? It just feels, yeah, kind of out of reach sometimes.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into some really fantastic insights from Mia Gibson. Her article on Wineful Living promises to spill the secrets, basically, on transforming those bargain finds into something special.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is that the core message, it's not really about big, expensive splurges. It's actually much more about smart, strategic upgrades and, honestly, a lot of creative problem solving.
Right, using what you have, almost, but smarter.
Exactly. We're going to explore how a piece that, clearly looks like a budget buy can become something really custom looking, often with just like a few hours and some pretty basic tools. It's surprisingly doable. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Mia highlights that small cosmetic tweaks, right? They make this enormous visual difference.
Mm.
And these changes work in any space. Like even if you're renting or it's temporary,
That's key.
you could literally be looking at a transformation that costs less than, say, $50 in materials. It's about changing how it looks, not the original price tag. So, okay, if you're starting with something, well, humble, and you want it to be a showstopper, where does Mia say to begin? What's the single most powerful tool she talks about for making cheap furniture look intentional, designer worthy even?
Right, she calls it the magic of paint or stain. And honestly, it's brilliant. It's pretty incredible how, say, a glossy white particle board dresser could become truly sophisticated with just the right shade.
Just paint.
Just paint. The key insight here is that color totally changes the perceived quality, the visual weight of it. You take a cheap, maybe flimsy surface, coat it in a rich, intentional color, and suddenly it feels substantial, it feels bespoke.
Okay, what kind of colors work best?
Well, trendy neutrals are always good. Like sage green, charcoal, maybe a creamy beige. Those are safe bets. And if you're looking ahead, like 2025 trends, which meant moody blues and greens being big. Or, you can always stick with timeless warm neutrals. Oatmeal, greige, those always work.
That makes so much sense. It's like giving it a whole new personality. But I can imagine some people thinking about painting laminate, particle board, worrying about getting a chipped, peeling mess down the line. Does Mia give specific tips for making that paint job actually last and look professional?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big concern. For beginners, she really recommends chalk paint. It's fantastic. Super user-friendly because it adheres really well without sanding first, which, let's be honest, is a huge barrier for lots of people.
Saves so much time.
Totally. But for those trickier laminate pieces, she does stress how critical a quality primer is. Think something like Zinsser Bullseye. That's kind of the secret sauce for getting professional results that actually last. No chipping, no peeling.
Gotcha. Primer is non-negotiable for laminate.
Pretty much. She even talks about her own nightstand. It was just a basic piece. She painted this deep forest green, and now people constantly mistake it for some unique, expensive find.
Wow. Just from paint and primer.
Yeah. It really shows what a good primer and the right shade can do.
Okay, that's impressive. So you've transformed the main body, the canvas of the furniture, with paint. What's the quickest way then to add that little bit of custom jewelry or sparkle, like Mia puts it? Is there something even faster for an instant upgrade?
There is, yeah. And it's hands down the fastest, like 5-minute transformation for budget furniture. It's upgrading the hardware.
Ah, the knobs and pulls.
Exactly. Think of hardware as the jewelry for your furniture. That's her phrase. It can completely change the piece's personality. And it signals a higher level of quality. Just swap out those standard plastic knobs for something like brass or crystal or maybe matte black. It instantly elevates the whole look.
Okay, but I can hear some listeners thinking, really, can a $3 knob actually make that much difference? What's the psychology there?
It's because hardware is such a tactile thing. It's an immediate touch point. And it's often one of the first things your eye registers is either cheap or expensive.
Mm.
It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Mia points out a cool designer trick, too. Try mixing metallics. Like maybe use gold pulls and black knobs on the same piece. That gives a really custom feel.
Ooh, I like that.
And you don't need to break the bank. Stylish options are all over Amazon, starting around like $3 to $5 a knob.
Right.
Or, if you want something really unique, places like Anthropologie have amazing, more statement-y options.
Right.
Mia herself actually upgraded an IKEA Hemleys dresser. Just added some brass and leather pulls, and she says it looks totally high-end now.
Nice.
And for an even more custom touch, she suggests this. Use different styles of hardware on the top drawers versus the bottom drawers.
Oh, interesting. Like knobs on top, pulls on the bottom.
Exactly. Or different finishes. It gives it that truly bespoke feel you just don't find on mass-produced stuff.
That's a really clever, subtle detail. Okay, so we've covered the big visual change with paint and the super quick win with hardware. What does Mia suggest for taking a piece that's maybe, well, flat, basic, like a simple boxy dresser? How do you make that look genuinely custom built? Give it some architectural interest.
Right. This is where adding things like trim or molding or these things called overlays really comes into play,
Yeah.
especially for flat front furniture. The basic idea is you're adding depth and dimension, breaking up those big plain surfaces. It makes a simple piece look way more intricate, more thoughtfully designed.
So like adding panels.
Sort of.
Yeah.
You can create that classic shaker style look, the recessed panel on cabinet fronts. You can do that just by adding simple wood trim strips.
Yeah.
For renters, or if you're just starting out, there's peel and stick molding now. It's brilliant, gives a similar effect, but it's totally removable.
Oh, perfect for rentals. And the paint is key here too, right? To make it look like it was always meant to be there.
Absolutely crucial, yeah.
Huh.
You have to paint all the trim. You add the exact same color as the main piece. That's what creates that seamless built-in look. It makes it look intentional, not like an afterthought or an add-on. And most of these projects, we're talking under $30 in materials. It's really cost-effective.
Wow.
Mia even did this to an IKEA Malm dresser. Just added some trim, painted it all one color, and boom, looks like a designer piece.
The Malm. That's impressive.
Right. And for ultimate ease, she also mentions products called overlays. Have you heard of those?
I think I've seen them online. They're like decorative panels.
Exactly. They're pre-cut decorative panels, often designed specifically to fit popular IKEA furniture, like the Malm or Kallax. You basically just glue them on, paint everything one color, and you get an instant custom look. Super easy, no complex cutting needed.
That sounds almost too easy. Okay, fantastic. Now, let's talk texture. Nothing really screams cheap furniture quite like, that scratchy, thin upholstery.
Ugh.
So once you've upgraded the structure, the look, how do you get that high-end touchable texture? The kind that makes furniture look expensive and just inviting.
Yeah, texture is huge. This is where reupholstering or even just adding looks
Yeah.
textiles comes in. The psychology here is that texture communicates luxury, almost subconsciously. Think about fabrics like velvet or a nice linen, maybe buccal.
Oh yeah, buccal is everywhere now.
Exactly. They instantly convey a sense of richness just by how they feel and how they drape.
But reupholstering sounds hard, like you need skills.
It can seem intimidating. But Mia suggests no-sew options for beginners, using things like fabric glue and a staple gun. It's surprisingly effective, so you don't need to be an expert seamstress, which is great news for most of us.
Definitely.
And even simpler, just using throw blankets and pillows strategically, draping a nice throw, adding some plush pillows
Yeah.
that can dramatically upgrade tired seating instantly.
That's a relief, so you don't always have to rip the whole thing apart. Does Mia have a favorite textile hack or example?
She shares a brilliant one, actually. She found these dining chairs for like $15 each at a thrift store. And she recovered just the seat cushions. Didn't touch the frame. She used about a yard of performance velvet and transformed them into what she calls restaurant-worthy seating. It shows you don't need to tackle a whole sofa to make a huge impact.
Just the seats. That's smart. Where do you find nice fabrics without spending a fortune?
Good question. She recommends checking places like Joann Fabrics, especially their remnant section. You can find great deals there. Or look at Fabric.com's end-of-season sales. You can often snag luxury-looking fabrics for less. She even suggests using small fabric samples, the ones you can order, to make custom pillow covers. Very resourceful.
Love that. Okay, what about something people probably don't even think about changing, an often overlooked detail, but one that can completely change a piece's whole silhouette? We're talking about the legs, right?
Yes, the legs. It's such a game changer, honestly, because the lugs directly influence how visually heavy or light a piece feels and its style. Think about swapping out those stubby standard feet you get on cheap sofas or dressers.
Yeah, the little plastic nubs sometimes.
Exactly. Swap those for something more intentional, like tapered mid-century legs. It instantly makes the piece feel less chunky, more refined, more designed.
Okay, I can picture that.
Or for an instant hit of glam, especially on things like ottomans or benches, consider adding gold or brass metal legs. And the great news is these options are surprisingly affordable, and they're everywhere. Amazon, Etsy, Loads of IKEA hack websites sell them.
That's interesting. I've seen that look on Pinterest and stuff, but I always assumed it was really complicated, like you'd need special tools or something.
Not usually,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Attachment is generally really straightforward. Most legs come with standard mounting plates. It's typically just a few screws. It makes it an incredibly easy upgrade, even for total beginners.
Good to know.
Mia shares a great example for this, too. She had an IKEA sofa with those really chunky, blocky legs. She replaced them with sleek, 6-inch brass hairpin legs.
Oh, hairpin legs. Okay.
Yeah, and she said not only did it instantly make the sofa look more expensive, but it actually improved the flow in her small living room, made it feel more open.
And easier to vacuum under, probably.
Exactly. Bonus practical benefit. She also mentions using angled mid-century style legs on boxy dressers or credenzas. That gives them that cool designer silhouette. And metal feet, like we said, can make basic ottomans and benches look like they're almost floating, more like architectural elements. It's all about creating that sense of lift.
Okay, wow. So many good ideas. You've painted, you've swapped the hardware, maybe added trim, changed the legs. You've basically rebuilt this piece, almost. But there's one final step, isn't there? The thing that really seals the deal on that custom luxury look. It's all about styling it like a pro.
Absolutely. Styling is crucial. It's what makes even a simple bookcase look truly intentional, curated, designed, rather than just, a place to dump stuff. The core principle here is curation. An expensive-looking space isn't just full of expensive things. It's thoughtfully put together.
Okay, so how do you do that? Is there a formula?
Mia offers a pretty foolproof styling formula, actually. She says start with a tray. Something nice, maybe marble, wood, or rattan. Use that to corral items together on a coffee table or a dresser top. It creates a defined little zone for your display.
Right, contains the clutter.
Exactly.
All right.
Then arrange your decorative items within that zone, usually in groups of 3, and importantly, with varying heights. You want something tall, maybe a vase or a small lamp. Something medium, like a stack of nice books or a candle. And something small, a little trinket box or a small sculpture.
The rule of 3.
With height variation.
Got it.
Yeah, that creates visual interest and balance. It stops it looking flat.
So it's not just what you put on it, but really how you arrange it.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of organic elements. A simple $5 plant or even just a $10 bunch of flowers from the grocery store, they can instantly make any little vignette feel more luxurious, more lived in, more authentic. Adds life.
Good tip.
And finally, and this is really key, you need to edit ruthlessly.
Less is more.
Definitely. Custom, expensive-looking spaces are never cluttered. They have fewer items, but those items are thoughtfully chosen. They have room to breathe, to make an impact. It's always quality over quantity in styling.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, wrapping this all together, what does it really mean for transforming that piece? Taking it from a bargain bin find to something genuinely unique, personal. It sounds like it means embracing the magic of combining several of these techniques together.
That's exactly it. Combining techniques is where you get the truly transformative results, where the finished piece becomes far greater than the sum of its, humble parts. Mia gives this fantastic ultimate example. She found a dresser for $40 at a thrift store. Totally basic. She painted it navy blue. Added brass campaign hardware, that classic style with the corner brackets and inset pullers.
Oh, yeah, very chic, like little travel trunks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then she styled it beautifully with a vintage mirror she found and some fresh flowers. The whole transformation cost her less than $100. But she says it looked like a $1,000 piece afterwards. Virtually unrecognizable.
Wow. That's the dream result.
Right. And it also highlights another really important concept she talks about. Mixing your budget finds, your DIY upgrades, with maybe 1 or 2 genuinely quality accent pieces. Like maybe you splurge just a little on a beautiful table lamp or a really nice quality mirror to go with your transformed dresser.
Okay.
These nicer pieces tend to elevate everything around them. It's like luxury by association. It subtly suggests the whole vignette is higher end than it might actually be.
That high-low mix approach, I like that. It feels much more achievable for most people than trying to make everything super high-end.
It absolutely is. And it's a trick designers use all the time to create spaces that feel collected over time, really personalized and reflect someone's actual journey and taste, not just like flipping through a catalog page.
Right.
And her final point is really about trusting your own style. More than chasing fleeting trends. Don't be afraid to break the so-called design rules sometimes, or mix styles that aren't supposed to go together. That's how you create a truly unique custom space that couldn't be mass-produced. Something that's authentically yours, reflecting your creativity.
This whole deep dive really shows, doesn't it, that luxury in your home. It isn't necessarily about the price tag. It's much more about smart choices, a bit of creative effort, and just having a good eye for potential.
Absolutely. And if we kind of zoom out and connect this to the bigger picture, it really raises an interesting question for everyone listening, I think.
Yeah.
What single piece of furniture in your home right now is maybe hiding in plain sight, just waiting for its own custom makeover this weekend?
Yeah, find that one piece. Pick one or two of these techniques we talked about: paint, hardware, legs, styling. Apply them and just watch how quickly your space can transform. Get ready for the compliments. Honestly, they'll be well worth that little investment of time and creativity.